Solving some equations using decimals and fractions. There's a couple of ways to attack a problem like this. What I prefer to do is clear the fractions. Just deal with whole numbers. The way to do that is you look at the denominators, 3, 8, 6, and find the least common denominator. Well, by just looking at the 8 and 6, I know that 24 would work. So I just think about the multiples of 6. So 6, 12, 24, 30, etc. Think about the multiples of 8. So 8, 16, 24. Oh, there you go. I forgot 18 on this one. So 24 is the first one that's common. Then the good thing about that is 3 is one of the factors of 24. That means our least common denominator is 24. So then what I suggest you do is there's 3 terms here, this one, and this one. You multiply all of them by 24. And then when you reduce, you will have no more fractions. So reduce. So a 3 divides into a 24 8 times, and then 8 times 2 is 16. So the first one is 16x. And then this one could be reduced. An 8 divides into a 24 3 times, so it's negative 3. And then a 6 divides into a 24 4 times. So on the right hand side there's 4 times 5, which leaves 20x. And then there's more x's on the right hand side, so I'm going to move the 16x over, or in other words subtract 16x from both sides. The left side still has the negative 3. 20x minus 16x is 4x. And then the last thing to do is get rid of that 4. Right now the 4 is multiplying, so to get rid of it I do the opposite, divide. So on the right hand side there's x equals negative 3/4. Can't even be reduced, so we're done. So you could do the same thing over here. The least common denominator is 27. Multiply this by 27, and this by 27, and this by 27. When you reduce, there will be no more fractions. But just to show you something different, I'm going to combine these two fractions. The common denominator would be 27. So this one I need to multiply top and the bottom by a 3. So this one would be w minus 4 over 27 minus, so this one I would need to distribute. It's actually, I can either leave the negative there, or I can take the negative, attach it to the 3, and then distribute. I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take the negative away from there. I'm going to attach it to the 3 and then distribute that negative 3. So it's going to be negative 3 times 2w, that's negative 6w. A negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. Now that we have common denominators, we can make this one fraction. Combine like terms, negative 6w with a positive w is negative 5w. And a positive 3 with a negative 4 is a negative 1. Now I need to, in order to solve for this w, I need to get rid of the 27. So I just multiply both sides by 27. These cancel. So it leaves negative 5w minus 1 equals 27. And then I need to get rid of the 1. So add 1 to both sides. The left side has negative 5w. The right-hand side now has positive 28. The last step, just divide both sides by negative 5w. That one can't be reduced, so it's finished. You can either leave the negative on the bottom or you can put it right in front. They both mean the same thing. And decimals. Well, with this one over here, I showed you how to, in the first step, get rid of the fractions. You can do the same thing over here. In the first step, you can get rid of decimals. So notice if this one, the decimal was moved 2 places to the right, we would just have the number 35. So in other words, I need to multiply by 100. That will make this into a 35. That will make this into a 15. But I have to multiply this side by 100 also. So multiply by 100, multiply by 100, and multiply by 100. This one becomes a 35. And then there's still the parentheses k minus 2. Plus, this one becomes a 15, and the parentheses 2k plus 1 is there, equals 300. And then distribute. So we'd have 35 times k, then 35 times negative 2 is negative 70. Over here, 15 times 2k, that would be 30k. Not 30,000, but 30k. And then there's 15 times 1. Well, now I can combine like terms. For the k's, there would be 35 and 30 makes 65k. I could get rid of the 70 by adding 70 to both sides. Get rid of the 15 by subtracting 15 from both sides. Then I just need to know how much is 370 minus 15. Well, if it was 370 and I took away 10, that's 360. But I have to take away another 5, so that's 355. Next, divide by 65. I know we're going to have one more step because both of these can be divided by 5. So I need to reduce it at least that much. Let's see, divide by 5, what's that going to be? So if it was 300, now maybe I should just work it out. Where? On some scratch paper. So if it was 355 divided by 5, that would go 7 times is 35. And then that's 0, and then bring down the 5. Oh, nice. It goes 71 times. You also have to do the denominator. So 65 divided by 5. Isn't that 13? Well, let's see. It'd go 1 time right here. So then multiply, subtract. That's going to be 1. Carry down the 5. Yes, it's 13. And then does 13 divide into 71? 4 times? No, because that would end in a 2. 5 times would end in a 5. 3 times would end in a 9. 4 times would end in a 2. No, it's not going to work. And the last one, wow, after all those, this looks just cinchy. All we need to do is first distribute the negative 3. So do the distributive property first is negative 3m, and then negative 3 times negative 4 is positive 12, and then copy down that last minus 4. And put the m's on one side, so add 3m, that's going to be 10m. Over here, a 12 minus 4 is 8. To get rid of the 10, divide both sides by 10. And that is going to be 8/10. I know that needs to be reduced. We can just divide by 2 on each one. Divide by 2 is 4. Divide by 2 is 5.